Monday's episode of The Young and the Restless, October 6th, launches the week with explosive twists, power plays, and emotional fallout that will ripple across Genoa City for weeks to come. Victor Newman flexes his might in a very public way, while Kyle Abbott makes a stunning offer that could change Audra Charles's fate forever. Let's dive into the drama-packed details of today's update. Victor declares war with a media blast against Kane. Victor Newman has never been one to fight quietly, and today he makes sure the world knows that Kane Ashby is in his crosshairs. After weeks of backroom maneuvering and whispered speculation, Victor uses Newman Media as his ultimate weapon, unleashing a hard-hitting exposé that puts Kane on the defensive. The broadcast paints Kane as a reckless opportunist whose questionable business tactics are damaging not only his own reputation but also the stability of Genoa City's corporate community. Victor's announcement is ruthless. He calls into question Kane's history of failed ventures, hints at shady international dealings, and drops the bombshell that Kane has betrayed investors. The timing couldn't be worse for Kane, who was beginning to rebuild his credibility after years of personal and professional missteps. As the news hits, Kane watches in horror while his children and ex-wife Lily brace themselves for the fallout. Lily, who has been trying to co-parent peacefully and maintain balance at Chancellor Winters, is left in an impossible position. Does she defend her ex publicly, or does she distance herself to protect the company and her own standing? Billy Abbott, meanwhile, sees the spectacle as another example of Victor overstepping boundaries. Billy considers taking Kane's side, not out of loyalty, but out of spite toward Victor. But would siding with Kane put Chancellor Winters at risk, or could it be an unexpected power play that forces Victor to think twice? Victor, however, isn't concerned with who sides with whom. He's making it clear. Kane is an enemy, and when Victor labels someone as such, the path forward usually leads to ruin. Kane's desperate countermove. Backed into a corner, Kane scrambles to prepare a response. He calls in old contacts, hoping to find someone willing to go on record to support him. But with Victor holding so much sway in the media world, many of Kane's supposed allies are quick to retreat. Kane's frustration boils over when he storms into society, where Jill Abbott and Nina Webster happen to be meeting. The confrontation is heated, with Kane demanding that Jill use her influence to stop Victor's campaign against him. Jill, unimpressed, tells Kane bluntly that he's brought much of this on himself and that he needs to find a smarter way out than yelling at everyone. Still, Jill can't entirely ignore the implications of Victor's attack. If Victor can do this to Kane, who's next? Chancellor Winters could easily be swept up in collateral damage. Jill warns Kane that Victor never fights without an endgame. The only question is what that endgame really is. Kyle offers Audra an escape. While Victor is making noise in the corporate arena, Kyle Abbott is making headlines of his own with a personal move that shocks even Audra Charles. Audra has been spiraling in recent weeks, her alliance is fractured, her reputation shaky, and her personal life tangled with heartbreak and betrayal. After Nate's rejection and the collapse of her position at Newman Media, Audra has been teetering between desperation and determination. Enter Kyle. Despite their turbulent history, Kyle approaches Audra with an offer that leaves her speechless, a one-way ticket on the Abbott jet to anywhere in the world. He tells her that she doesn't have to stay in Genoa City, surrounded by enemies and judgment. If she wants a fresh start, he'll give it to her, no strings attached. The moment is laced with tension. Audra, always calculating, questions his motives. Is this about guilt? Does Kyle feel responsible for how their twisted fling ended? Or is he trying to manipulate her into disappearing before she becomes a bigger threat to the Abbott family's standing? Kyle insists that his offer is genuine. He admits that while they've hurt each other, he sees that Audra is trapped in a cycle that won't end well. Maybe leaving Genoa City could give her the freedom she's always claimed to want. Audra struggles with the decision. On one hand, leaving could save her from further humiliation. On the other, Audra Charles is not the type to bow out quietly. She thrives on power, connections, and the ability to turn the tables. If she takes Kyle's offer, does she admit defeat? Their conversation grows more charged as Audra points out that Kyle himself seems restless. Maybe the offer isn't just about her escape, maybe it's about his own yearning to run from expectations, family obligations, and heartbreak with Summer. For now, Audra doesn't give Kyle an answer. But the look in her eyes suggests she's seriously considering the escape route, though if she takes it, she might not leave quietly. Sharon and Nick's search hits a dead end. Meanwhile, Sharon Rosales and Nick Newman continue their private search for answers regarding the mysterious threats tied to their family. After weeks of cryptic messages and suspicions, they've been trying to uncover the source of a dangerous scheme that could put their loved ones at risk. Monday's episode brings disappointment as their lead dries up. They had tracked a suspicious transaction to a possible offshore account, but the trail goes cold. Nick grows frustrated, worried that they're running out of time before whoever is behind this makes their next move. Sharon, however, refuses to give up, reminding Nick that they've faced impossible odds before. Their determination to protect Faith and Noah adds an emotional layer to the story. Sharon knows that their children could be collateral damage in a war they didn't start. Nick, meanwhile, begins to question whether Victor knows more than he's letting on. If Victor is targeting Kane so aggressively, could there be a connection between Kane's dealings and the threats the Newman family has been receiving? This dead end is not the end of the search, but it raises the stakes for what Sharon and Nick will discover next. Chelsea's crossroads. Chelsea Lawson also finds herself at a pivotal crossroads on Monday's episode. After making strides in her mental health journey and working to rebuild her life with Connor, Chelsea faces new pressure. Adam Newman wants her to step into a larger role as Connor's advocate at school, but Chelsea fears she may not be ready for that responsibility. A candid conversation with Chloe reveals Chelsea's lingering insecurities. Chloe encourages her to trust her progress and not let fear dictate her choices. But Chelsea can't shake the feeling that one wrong move could undo everything she's worked so hard to rebuild. Her arc this week will be about courage, whether she can step into the role her son needs her to play without being haunted by past mistakes. Phyllis plays with fire. No Monday in Genoa City is complete without Phyllis Summers stirring the pot. Today, she corners Daniel and Lucy with a plan to fix their lives, despite their insistence that she back off. Phyllis, unable to resist meddling, suggests that Daniel cut ties with Heather permanently and move forward with a fresh chapter. Lucy, however, calls her grandmother out, accusing Phyllis of trying to control everything. The confrontation leaves Phyllis rattled, but also more determined. When Phyllis feels shut out, she often escalates, and this week promises to show just how far she'll go to prove she knows best. Monday's cliffhanger. Audra's decision. The episode closes with a powerful cliffhanger. Audra returns to her suite, where Kyle's offer weighs heavily on her mind. She opens her laptop and begins searching for flights, yet she keeps glancing at the sleek envelope holding the Abbott jet ticket. Just as she's about to make a choice, she receives a text message from an unknown number: "Stay in Genoa City." The game isn't over. Audra's eyes widen as she realizes she may not have as much freedom as Kyle suggested. If someone else is pulling strings behind the scenes, her decision to stay or go could trigger even bigger consequences. Final thoughts. Monday's Young and the Restless October 6th sets the stage for an explosive week. Victor's scorched earth campaign against Kane shakes the corporate world to its core, while Kyle's shocking gesture to Audra creates uncertainty about both of their futures. Sharon and Nick's stalled search raises more questions than answers, and Chelsea and Phyllis continue to navigate personal crossroads that could spark even bigger dramas. By the time the credits roll, viewers are left wondering, will Kane survive Victor's ruthless media strike? Will Audra take the jet and vanish, or stay and fight? And who is sending ominous messages to make sure the game in Genoa City continues? One thing is certain, this week promises no shortage of bombshells.